Welcome to the Learning Never Stops podcast, where we explore the dynamic intersection of AI, video technologies, and learning in higher education and enterprise. I'm Scott Nadzen from Panopto, and today we're thrilled to explore easy, automagic, and reliable campus-wide video at Duke University. We have a special guest, Todd Stabley, Senior Media Engineer from Duke University. Today we'll discuss critical issues and innovations transforming video's role in learning at Duke University. So whether you're an L&D professional, tech leader, educator, AV pro, or enthusiast, this episode will deliver valuable video learning insights and best practices from a leading university. I know I really want to understand what's driving Duke's commitment to a best-in-class video learning strategy and how Todd and his teammates make it look so easy. Let's dive in. Todd, how are you today? Thanks for being here. I know most of the world probably knows where Duke University is, but they don't know you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your role. And I'd also like to know how you got into media streaming. And seeing that you and I have the same hair color, I have a feeling that you've seen a lot of change over the years related to media streaming on campus.
Scott, thanks. Yeah, I'm Todd Stabley. I'm a senior media engineer at in a group called Media Technologies at Duke University, and that's housed in our Central Office of Information Technology. We serve the entire campus. We set up enterprise video systems, enterprise media related systems, and have been doing that since 2006. I actually came to Duke from UNC Chapel Hill, where I was a grad student, and then ended up working in video at UNC Chapel Hill. I was going to be an English professor, Scott, and I was using technology back in the days of real media when the videos were postage stamp size. We were all gathered around a beige computer with a screen about that big, just kind of in awe that you could put video on the web. So it's been exciting to see all those changes over time. I've enjoyed at UNC, I worked directly with faculty, and then when I came to Duke, it's more a focus on enterprise systems. And of course, one of the tools that we support here as part of our portfolio is Panopto, and we love it, and we've been using it since 2010.
Oh, thank you. And I think I remember what else came out in 2006. I think there was a little platform called YouTube. So that was definitely when it started happening on campus.
I got to go to the YouTube headquarters where Duke set up our YouTube channel for campus.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. We've always seen Duke University as a leader in adopting educational technology. Can you share how video has transformed the learning experience on campus over the past few years?
Yeah, so I think going back to that point is in the old days, it used to be more of a curiosity and kind of a cool thing that was nice to have, but now it's just part of how things work here on campus. It's just expected that it will run. And we also I really kind of have loved working at Duke because we have a commitment to innovation in using video across campus that goes back to the earliest days of technology, back to 2004. I'm not sure if any of your listeners would remember the iPod giveaway project where our CEO, who's still here today, Tracy Futhy, gave iPads out to all the first generation students at Duke, first semester students at Duke. And I think as part of that, there was an idea of, well, how can we kind of expand on this? How can we build on this and like give them course content that they'd actually watch, on those iPods? And so that led to the idea of setting up a central lecture capture service. And so now, having done that type of innovation all these years, we're constantly thinking about what's the next thing that we can do to kind of expand the impact of video. Our most recent project is a digital asset management tool called Media Beacon that we just rolled out a couple of years ago, but it's really gaining its momentum now. It's in those early phases. This past year, we took the entire Duke University photography archive and put it into Media Beacon, where it's now searchable across campus, and that does include videos as well. So yeah, it's just become part of how we do things on campus, and there's a lot of room for innovation and kind of thinking about what's next.
And one thing I love the word and the term lecture capture. I hear a lot about shorter videos and short form videos, but I know lecture capture is still going strong. So do you feel like lecture capture is still a key piece of or a method of capturing content and serving engaging content to students?
It is. It's part of a broader, obviously suite of tools and offerings. And that's one reason why we love Panopto, is that it really is kind of a broad platform where this thing we call actually course DVR, lecture capture, whatever name you want to use. It is important at Duke. We've got a commitment to being on campus. We invested a lot in our classrooms. We've got some incredibly beautiful classrooms on campus, and the conference users will get to see some of those tomorrow. We're going to give a tour of some rooms at the Fuqua School of Business. Those are beautiful rooms. The students come, and those lectures should be recorded. And so that's just, again, part of that infrastructure now.
Nice, yeah, and I think any of our listeners should just search Duke University Fuqua School of Business, and you'll start to see some of the great classroom tech that Todd and his teammates have set up. Integrating a learning management system and video platforms is critical for efficient course delivery. How has Duke approached the LMS integration, and what are your video solutions' key benefits or challenges?
So yeah, so in the old days, we basically used the framework of what we call site administrators in the different schools and departments across campus, one of which would be Fuqua. And I should mention, we have a model of supporting Panopto and all of our services really that relies heavily on the tech people in the schools and departments.
Right.
We partner with them, and they're the ones that are engaging with the faculty directly. So for most of the years that we've been using Panopto, the workflow has been that the faculty member will put out a request to those site administrators through whatever system, maybe an online form or a phone call or whatever that they have, and say, I'd like my course recorded. I'm meeting on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 2 to 3. And so the site admin will schedule that. The LMS shift has been important because it's actually kind of moving us more toward automation, and that's, I think, the direction that we're continuing to head, where and now we're using Canvas at Duke. We just had a big migration a couple of years ago. So there's a Canvas integration for Panopto, of course, and we're loving having that. All that becomes, there's a greater step toward automation when the faculty member can just enable the Panopto tool from within their Canvas site. The folder is set up. All the permissions are automatically set. And then we just have to perform a hook where we give those site administrators access to those folders so that they can schedule the recordings to go there.
Well, nice, and I think I love the word automatic, and I always say automagic, and I think one of the other areas that I think Duke has really figured out is managing their remote recorder fleets, which is basically, if you're not familiar with the remote recorder term to any of our listeners, which is basically managing a number, it could be 10, it could be 160 hardware devices inside of rooms across a campus. And that can be a really complex task for universities and teams, whether you're centralized or decentralized. So tell us a little bit about your remote recorder setup, how many classrooms you have, and how do you ensure that automated, seamless experience for faculty and members when they're kind of recording the courses, and then in the end, as we just talked about the LMS, the students have to consume that content. So just talk to us about a little bit about remote recorder fleet management.
Yeah, that's a great question, Scott. That's a huge part of how we do things at Duke. Again, that course DVR workflow is a key aspect of how we use Panopto, and it has to work. I mean, it's got to be solid. And going back to that idea that in the early days, it wasn't solid. I remember there was a funny thing that our director way back said when we were just implementing lecture capture. We were using a tool called Lectopia pre-Panopto in like 2006, 7. And there was this idea that he said, when you could either be driving a Yugo or a BMW, and if you're in the Yugo, you could put your foot on the gas and you're not sure if it's going to go or not. And I think there was that feeling about lecture recording, we're going to schedule this thing and we hope that it goes off, but we're not actually 100% sure it will. Now it absolutely has to. So when we went with Panopto in 2010, that was our core focus right from the get-go. And I can remember having some early conversations with Panopto's CTO back then, Eric Burns, and his team. They were awesome to work with. They really stepped up. We kind of took a little bit of a gamble on Panopto. They were kind of a startup at the time.
Right.
And we did this comprehensive analysis and comparison of all the different lecture recording tools out there. MediaSite came in number one, but they were like 100 times more expensive than anything else. So we kind of, Panopto was actually second on the list, and we're like, let's give these guys a chance. So when we did, partner with them and gave them this idea, yeah, we think we might go with you, they stepped up, they developed that remote recorder software. We worked with them early on to make that much more reliable, to make it easier to use. We met with them, I think, monthly and talked about, what was going well, what was not going well, what features we wanted to see. And so I think over time, that workflow with Panopto has become super reliable. And one other aspect of that is that, again, with this kind of idea that we delegate and partner with people to run all of our services at Duke, including Panopto, we partner with another group in OIT that is really good at pushing out automatic updates to Windows machines across campus. And that's a group that's also within OIT. It's called Academic and User Device Support. And they use SCCM and BigFix to push out just kind of routine patches, OS level patches and security patches, updates, and SCCM to push out more major software. In this case would be the remote recorder software updates, to kind of look at all those tools, and see which ones are running which version of the software. And so we hand that piece off to them because they do it best.
As hybrid and online learning models continue to grow, how is Duke leveraging Zoom to record courses, and where does Zoom and Panopto intersect in the broader video learning ecosystem at the university?
So the Zoom integration with Panopto has actually taken a big role in the era of COVID and beyond. We love the Panopto Zoom integration. It is a better way to view recordings than going to Zoom Cloud and viewing those same recordings. It's got that incredible rich media experience. So we are highly encouraging folks to use that. We love the kind of trifecta in your Canvas site. You can have the Zoom tool enabled, the Panopto tool enabled, and then when you schedule your class to be recorded within Zoom, it goes right to that Panopto folder. We would love to see a little bit better metrics. Sometimes it's not clear to us how many courses are being recorded with Zoom. We're trying to get versus just straight in Panopto. So we're working on getting more refined information about that.
Video accessibility is essential for providing an equitable learning environment. Can you talk about Duke's approach to ensuring video accessibility and how you've addressed the need for closed captioning across all video content?
Yes, we have what's called the Student Disability Access Office, and we partner closely with them. If there's a student who needs an accommodation, they will work through that office, and then that kind of filters down to us or to any other technologies that are in use in terms of what that accommodation would entail. It's a case-by-case basis. We also have a web accessibility specialist in OIT, and that person also partners directly with them and works with us. That person has worked to kind of establish standards and guidelines on campus for web accessibility broadly, and the tools that we use, including Panopto. We've partnered with that person to look at captioning and the impact of that. We love the automatic speech recognition that's available within Panopto. We've turned it on for everything, actually. We would love to see that get a little bit better. There's some other technologies that people are experimenting with. I think Whisper is one of those platforms that is just really, really good. We'd love to see Panopto integrate with that or something similar, but these technologies are evolving. And again, with that idea of you've got your cutting edge, and then a couple of years down the road, that will just be commodity technology. It's not to the point yet where those captions can be, necessarily, enough to ensure compliance, I guess is the word that's used. But it is close, and they can be edited now with minimal effort to get there in a lot of cases.
Have you seen the accuracy rate increase over time in automatic closed captions?
Absolutely, absolutely. And with Whisper, it was uncanny when I saw a demo recently of just how good that's getting.
Right. I think in the olden days, I always think about it was kind of comparing which one sucks less, and now you're starting to see that it's getting easily 9 out of 10 words, and now you're seeing a higher accuracy rate than 90% in most cases. Of course, it depends on the quality of the audio, but I think that I've noticed over time, and a lot of our customers have noticed, that the quality is getting pretty good.
It really is. And it's handling accents better and low quality, like you say. I mean, yeah, it's definitely evolving.
Excellent. As you know, Duke's been a long-time Panopto customer. What key features or functionalities of Panopto have contributed most to the success of your video strategy on campus?
Well, definitely, as we've been talking about, the remote recorder functionality, which is the automated scheduled recordings, of course, DVR. Just the fact that that works so well is fantastic, and that's a reason why Panopto's been so successful. We would like to see some improvements, as that continues to evolve. Definitely things like batch scheduling and the automation of the process of scheduling are things that we're looking into. Got a couple of groups interested in looking at the Panopto APIs and kind of using those. Hopefully within Canvas, because that seems to be where we could get the most benefit if the faculty members themselves are doing the scheduling rather than relying on the site administrators. So that's an area we'd like to see further development on. We'd like to see better metrics, for basically with the Canvas integration now, those folders are all dropped at a high level into the, it's called Duke Canvas is the top level folder. And so there's not a way to kind of distinguish those easily by department, and we really do a lot that we work with our metrics. We use Tableau, and we've got some ways we can kind of finagle things a little bit, but more ability to kind of differentiate those Canvas courses at the departmental level is a big focus. And then finally, I would say we would really love to see Panopto expand on its quiz tool functionality. We've kind of got a number of different ways that we're handling the need for quizzing on campus right now, but I don't think any of them are really perfect. And so we've actually had some early conversations with Panopto, and there seems to be some receptivity in potentially looking at that.
Yeah, I guess I have a question. What's the thought on campus about auto-generated or AI quizzes, right? It's just taking maybe the caption track and generating quizzes automatically, or would people prefer just an increased functionality in the quiz tool? Or are you thinking people want Gen AI quizzes?
Well, that's a great question. I'm probably not the best person to answer that. I think folks in our Learning, Innovation, and Lifetime Education program, the Center for Instructional Technologies, to be what they were called, would be better, to address that. But I mean, I think it's a cool idea myself. So.
Yeah, so Gen AI is a big topic at Panopto, so we're looking into a lot of that stuff.
Fantastic.
Building and maintaining a relationship with a video platform provider can be critical. Can you share what makes Panopto an ideal partner for Duke, and does this partnership support your long-term goals in video learning?
Yes, Panopto's been a great partner, and again, going back to 2010, I said a little bit about this in some of my other answers, but the early sense that we got from Eric and his team, Tim Sullivan, their CTO at the time, Dave Hannon, and others, some of their lead developers, they sat down with us, they spent time, they listened to us on a regular basis, and when we would kind of make a request, there was a pretty good likelihood we would see some of that, come into the product. And I had a feeling, in a sense, that we were helping them grow and develop the platform, and that was really, really satisfying for us. And just the confidence that they inspired, there was a really incredible ethic. Obviously there are a lot of changes in Panopto and new leadership, but we feel that same sense of confidence, now with the new people coming in, and we feel that sense of responsiveness. Here we are hosting the user conference at Duke tomorrow, excited about that. So we see definitely that partnership continuing, and we signed a long-term contract, so we're excited about the future with that and continuing that partnership.
Yeah, we're excited as well, and I think one of the nicest things about being part of a software-based company is your customers usually come up with the best ideas. So we thank you for all the great features, requests, and innovations, because after a few years, we don't need to innovate as much. I mean, we want to innovate, but a lot of times it's our customers really telling us like what we need to know, and they really understand where the pain points are in the workflows, and we appreciate all that collaboration and partnership.
Appreciate you saying that, and actually that extends to our use, and centrally of our use of Panopto and other tools, is when we go to our site administrators in the departments, they're the ones talking with the faculty, and they know how the tools should be used. So those are the people we were talking to in those early days and continuing to talk to, and that's where we got the ideas to give to you all.
So, one of the interesting things that you mentioned was that you're a central unit and you have distributed units. So my guess is the Fuqua School of Business has kind of a IT and AV team that is pretty skilled, and they have pretty distinct demands and wants and needs because they have their own goals at the business school. And sometimes those goals might be different than the law school, and they might be using different technologies possibly, and sometimes different LMSs. I'm not saying that here, but talk about the power of Panopto, where you as a central senior media engineer can really set up the infrastructure, but then some of your distributed units, like the law school or the business school, for example, really do have some control and flexibility in managing and administering Panopto on their own end.
Yeah, that's a great question, and that was a very early strategic decision that Duke made, was to operate in that mode where we would leverage those departmental units. Number one, because we can focus centrally on innovation. There's a lot of room. I support Panopto, but also a lot of other tools, and we're constantly looking for what's the next thing, and we have some room to do that because we're not the ones that are doing the scheduling from Panopto and just kind of saddled with that all the time.
Right.
So it really fostered innovation on the campus broadly, and I think that was a really smart decision that was made by my leadership early on. Then the other thing, as you suggest, Scott, is that it gives the departments the flexibility to operate in the way that they need to, and a lot of times that's different from one school department to the next. And with Panopto, and this is, we would need a tool that's big enough, provide a big enough umbrella to offer a lot of different tools in that toolkit that those individual departments can pick and choose from. And we feel like Panopto is, definitely at this stage, it's a mature project, and it has a lot of different capabilities where you have that kind of flexibility for those individual departments to use it in the way that works best for them.
Right, yeah, I think that's key. I mean, I think I came from the business school at the School of Management at Syracuse University, and I learned pretty quickly, like, what we needed was very different than most of the campus, whether it truly was or we just thought that, but we definitely wanted to go have our own control and roll our video strategy out our own way at the business school. So that's great.
Yeah.
So in what ways have you seen video technology foster greater student engagement or improve learning outcomes at Duke, especially with the integration of tools like Panopto in your LMS?
So yeah, great question. I think I will largely have to punt on that one, just because our Duke Learning Innovation and Lifetime Education, that's their bailiwick, and would have a lot more qualitative information to share about that. I can speak to the numbers. I mean, we've seen historically, year over year, just these kind of, like, it's interesting, you look at the graphs, you get your bell curve that does the dip for spring semester, and then dip in the summer, and then the big thing in the fall. And every year those kind of creep up a little bit more. I mean, there's some, where it might be just a little lower, but it's every year since 2010, pretty much. With COVID, things kind of got flipped on their heads a little bit. But that's been the trend, and with Panopto and a lot of the other enterprise tools that we use. So definitely seeing the engagement and the viewership and all of those things increasing over time.
Talk to me a little bit about COVID. I mean, I know most customers or anybody using video inside of higher ed was sort of prepared because they were already using video. Then there were other campuses that were not using, Zoom or Panopto. They were not prepared. I mean, how prepared were you to deal with let's say just the rapid panic of COVID, that all classes are now online for the foreseeable future? How did you guys deal with that? What was it like? Did Panopto play a role?
Absolutely, yes. It was really interesting. We were actually prepared for that. I mean, having obviously an enterprise lecture recording system already in place, and we had, I think, was it 2009, where there's it was H1N1, the epidemic that happened, kind of a little prep for COVID. And when that hit, we recorded everything, and in that one semester that it was happening. And so we kind of, I wouldn't say that we weren't nervous and that it wasn't a big deal, but we were prepared for COVID.
Looking ahead, how do you see the role of video evolving at Duke University, and what emerging trends or technologies in the educational video space are you most excited about?
Well, obviously, there's just so much happening with AI. We're going to continue to see the impact of that. We're excited to see Panopto's working on that. I know there's some things cooking on the stove right now, and we're going to get a closer look at those. We're continuing to kind of look at the different needs that we're seeing at Duke. Like I mentioned, our digital asset management tool is a big one. It's interesting because we had to do a little hitting of the pavement to kind of help people see the need for that, because in the past people have been storing, all of our content producers have been storing the media on their hard drives under their desk. But as soon as we started kind of getting the word out, the momentum building, people like, yeah, that is actually a really great idea. And now the usage is really building for that. So I think as we continue to innovate, we'll have the chance to roll out more cool services like Panopto and like Media Beacon to the campus.
Great. And I have one last very serious question. Being a long timer in this industry, one of the things I've always heard is that if you start using video on campus, or if you start doing lecture captures, students will stop coming to class. And what I heard in our conversation is that you have actually been recording lectures since about 2012, 2010. So are students still coming to class at Duke?
Students are still coming to class. I mean, it's a Duke University. You come here because you want to be here on campus, and we've got these amazing classrooms. It's just I think it just enhances things. I mean, I think about myself when I was a college student, frantically writing all of my notes down. I'm wishing, countless times I've wished that I had something like that when I was a student. So we're well positioned for that.
Excellent, Todd. Well, thank you for being here. We're very grateful for you to spend some of your valuable time with us. And I wanted to thank Duke personally for hosting our customer conference tomorrow, Panopto Innovate. And we are looking forward to more wins together as a partnership.
Our pleasure, Scott. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for joining the Learning Never Stops podcast. I'm Scott Nadzen from Panopto, and I hope you found today's discussion on easy, automagic, and reliable campus-wide lecture recording with Todd Stabley from Duke University interesting. Most importantly, I hope you learned something. If you want to learn more about how video technology transforms the learning experience, head to panopto.com and get in touch. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on social media for more episodes and updates. Thank you again for spending your valuable time with us. This is Scott from Panopto, and don't forget, learning never stops.